Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
What you're talking about, well, and I'm actually turning into a woman as I say this, but it's about expressing something and accepting consequences.
Oh, I have condoms. Some are black.
That's very considerate.
I like you. You're funny and you're nicely shaped, and frankly, it's ludicrous to have these interlocking bodies and not interlock. Please remove your clothing now.
And the amazing thing? Still more romantic than Faith.
And welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, giving our review, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I'm Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 4, Episode 3, titled The Harsh Light of Day, directed by James A. Contner, written by Jane Espenson, original air date October 19th, 1999, to an audience of 5.09 million people. These audiences, they're taking a dip.
Yeah, but the world's different then, I guess. I have no idea. I have no idea what any of it means.
Yeah, me neither. But this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
There's some stuff going on here. I will have to say that you should definitely subscribe to our Patreon based off of this episode alone.
Yeah, because this is where the tie-ins really...
Yeah, this is where the companion piece stuff really starts to get going. Mm-hmm. So if you wanna subscribe to our Patreon for Boys Watching Angel, it kind of concludes a little bit the story, what happens in this. And
yeah, and I have some thoughts that will only be on the exclusive based off of what happens there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this one sees a lot of stuff happening. We find out a lot of things.
Before we get into it, do we have any shout outs?
Oh my God. Do we have any shout outs?
Yeah.
Well, that is a great question there, Vance.
It's the most important question. That's why people tune in.
Really is.
They're like, Buffy is my favorite show. I watched it like 70 times, but really...
But really, they want to know if anyone has gotten a shout out.
They don't want to review it themselves. They just want to hear other people's shout outs.
And boy, oh boy, based on what I'm seeing on here, no one is getting a shout out. Yeah. I will say, we'd say rate and review. It looks like our ratings have gone up. We got more ratings, but we can only see who has written us a review. So if you just rated and didn't review, I'm sorry, I can't give you a shout out.
But we appreciate it.
But you need to write a review in order for me to, in order for us to see who is getting the shout outs. So I should have been more specific about that.
Someone wants to be an anonymous, rate giver. That's fine. Yeah. You don't always have to donate for the clout.
We'll take your 5 stars. Yeah. We appreciate it. If that's you, and here's a shout out to you. There you go.
Yeah. You know who you are.
We couldn't do it without you.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't have any plugs or anything. Do you?
No, not at all. No, that's
all right. Well, let's get into this episode here. So, episode opens up with the Dingoes playing at the Bronze. Good old Bronze. making a comeback here. Just because we're on UC Sunnydale campus doesn't mean we can't go back to our old haunt, the Bronze.
I mean, it's 5 miles away. I mean, how could they possibly get there? You have to like Uber and then Lyft, and then you have to carpool the other 2 miles.
Yeah. But so Buffy and Willow are there, and they're watching Oz shred on his new guitar that is like a metal guitar, which he absolutely would not be playing in this band. Like, that guitar is so sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, his guitar previously was a much more fitting guitar for the type of music that they're playing. Like, there's no reason for him to have this like X metal guitar. But I digress. Also a guitar player, so whatever. So Buffy and Willow are there, and so is Buffy's new crush, Parker Abrams. And Buffy is like, trying to kind of like avoid him because she and him have been spending a whole crap load of time together, apparently. They have this amazing relationship off screen, which we don't see any of. Because Willow's like, you gonna go say hi to Parker? And Buffy's like, well, we've been hanging out literally all the time, every day, every single second this week. So I think I'm gonna give him a break, even though I can see him in the reflection. And I'm kind of stalking him. So, I'm not gonna go over in Krampus style or anything.
All the college kids go to the Bronze also.
Yeah.
It's not just a high school bar.
So yeah, then Oz gets off stage. They stop playing. They played their one song and now it's over. And they're all talking about how like Buffy wants to bang this Parker guy, and Buffy's like, I mean, do I really? Or I don't know, maybe I do want to bang him. I don't know. And Willow's like, you want to bang him? Not that it's like a bad thing, but you want to bang him.
He's got a reflection, so that means you probably aren't attracted to him, Buffy.
That's a good start that he's got a reflection. You can see him in a mirror. And then just out of nowhere, Parker comes up from behind her and he's like, hey, I noticed you're here. I'm going to leave. You want to walk back to your dorm with me?
Well, he says it's a dangerous neighborhood. Do you
Smart
want me to walk you home? And it's like, yeah. Who's going to walk Oz and Willow back?
Well, Oz is going to walk Willow back, and Oz is
going to protect them from... He can't turn into a werewolf whenever he wants. His werewolf powers are lame.
Does Parker know that there are vampires?
Parker does not know that there are vampires.
He just thinks it's a general dangerous neighborhood.
He should know later in this episode that there are vampires, but
everyone should know that there are vampires in this country.
Woefully unaware of his surroundings.
Like, even... We'll get to it later.
We'll get to it later.
So yeah, Parker's like, yeah, let me walk you back to your dorm. It's not safe out here. And then we go over to the Dingoes packing their band van up, and the singer's like, yo, we got a gig in LA. People are going to love us in LA. They're going to be glued to their seat. And Willow's like, yo, don't you want them on the dance floor? And the guy's like, whatever, shut up, Willow.
She's like, I'm not literally saying that. He's like, I was like, yeah, I know. I don't even get it. It's just exchanges that this show has.
So Oz and Devin, the singer of Dingoes, go back into the Bronze to get some more of their gear, and Willow's left alone out by the van.
I will stop here and just say, it's no way they haven't been killed loading that van.
Yeah.
Like, that would just be a feeding ground for vampires.
Absolutely. Just wait by the loading dock. Yeah. Any loading dock.
Yeah, just wait. Any loading dock at night.
But Willow's alone, and who should come up to greet Willow but our old friend Harmony, the Cordette, who we last saw getting bit by a vampire on graduation day. Yes. And we're like, oh, she bit the dust.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, she has not bit the dust. She's there and she's like, Willow, oh my God, fancy seeing you here. And Willow's like, oh, crazy, fancy seeing you here too. Harmony's like, oh, I miss hanging out with you. You're always so funny. And Willow's like, yeah, not much has changed, huh? And then Harmony goes, well, a little bit has changed. Vampire face. So she's not dead. She's a vampire now.
As soon as she showed up, I was like, she's a vampire.
Does this look like the same girl? This looks like a different girl to me. Look, our listeners gave us quite a bit of shit about this, about us not recognizing
day 1,
her.
I think we didn't recognize her on the stairwell.
Yeah.
And I thought she looked different in that episode.
Yeah, I feel like she looks different in this episode.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
I'm happy she walked up, said her name.
Hello, I'm Harmony. You might remember me from last season. I used to hang out with Cordelia, and I bullied you.
Yeah.
But then Harmony just takes a chomp out of Willow's neck, dude.
I was like, man, Willow's like it. They kind of do a little cheat because we cut to the title here, and then they cut back, and Oz kind of rescues her from her.
Yeah,
but it looked like she had gone to town, and Willow was done for.
Yeah, dude, it was a nice little.
And Oz,
we know
Oz came from a different angle too, from where he walked in. It made
there's no way
sense. He came from behind her when the doorway, unless he walked out of the front of the bronze and ran around.
Yeah, Harmony was facing the door that Oz went into to get back into the bronze, and then when we cut back, Oz is behind her with a microphone stand, and he yanks her off of Willow, and then pulls out a crucifix, and he's like, "Begone, demon!"
Yeah.
And Harmony's like, "Oh man, you guys stink. I was just having a little fun. Well, you're glad you got your boyfriend here, but now you made me mad, and I'm gonna get my boyfriend to come and attack you." And then she scurries off. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh God, what is this gonna entail?" You know?
I read the description before I watched it, so I knew what was happening.
I didn't, and I was like, what is it? What kind of dumb high school jock vampire are we about to see? Yeah. That's going to be so stupid. So then we cut to Parker and Buffy walking to the dorm, and Parker's like, "Hey, so like, what are your hobbies? And tell me about yourself. What do you do? What are your hobbies?" And Buffy's like, "I do things and stuff and hang out." And boy, oh boy, I can't tell you how many times I've had that literal exact conversation, and that's the type of shit that people are doing, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's such a generic thing of like, what do you like to do for fun? It's like, unless you're like a very specific person, like I feel like you have that answer because you're a very specific person, but I don't think I don't really have a shit. Yeah, I don't have a specific one for that.
What are you talking about? You have a podcast about Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel.
I don't do this for fun, Joe.
This is a curse.
Yeah. You know that bet I lost.
With Satan.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've had so many of this exact same conversation. It was like someone was like, "I don't know, I like to go out and I watch Netflix." I'm like, that's it? You don't do anything? You don't paint or anything? I don't know. I guess I just like surround myself with so many interesting people that have like a lot of different hobbies. When I come across like a normal person that doesn't have anything going on outside of like their work, it's like bizarre to me.
You Hollywood elite.
Yeah, I guess so, you know?
She's also a freshman in college.
So what? When I was a freshman, I was doing stand-up.
Yeah, but like not everyone was doing stand-up. Like coming straight out of high school, what do a lot of people have?
I skateboarded. I played guitar.
Buffy can't say what she does. She slays vampires.
Yeah, make something up. Do one of your famous Buffy lies. You go researching the Constitution or something, Nicolas Cage style. Anyway, so they keep walking, and then Parker gives her some kind of speech about, you know, blah, 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 and you can't live life with regrets. And Buffy's like, "Well, what's one thing you'd regret about tonight if you didn't do it?" And he's like, "I'd regret not asking you to go to the party tomorrow. You want to go to the party tomorrow?" And Buffy's like, "I'd love to go to the party tomorrow."
Well, there's two key things in this scene. Buffy has a scar on her neck from when Angel bit her. Which I was surprised that left a scar, because I feel like there'd be a ton of people with that scar in Sunnydale. Everyone in Sunnydale would have like a neck scar, like they're in like some fraternity branding.
Like you see him, you're like, "Oh, he must be from Sunnydale."
Yeah. And then he also brings up
his psychological scars. Talking about his dad.
He talks about his dad and how his dad passed away. And he also mentioned that he hates the dark brooding guys, the overly emo dark brooding guys, making fun of Angel without really knowing it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Buffy's like, "I don't really know the type."
The dead dad sob story is really the thing.
Yeah. And the neck scar.
Yeah.
But yeah, they bond about living for now, and they can't have regrets, and they invite her to a party. And then we go to Giles's place, and Giles and Xander are ordering up, they're like putting Giles' books in order, in alphabetical order. And I gotta say, this is my first time noticing Giles wearing something that is a little bit weird. Giles is wearing a long sleeve polo shirt, which, number one, I hate those. Those are no bueno. Long sleeve polo shirts.
Joe has decreed it, so you must burn all your long sleeve polos. It has been spoken.
I'm glad that you're on board with this.
No. I'm just saying you're making a list of burn the Henleys and long sleeve.
Henley's long sleeve polo shirts. But his long sleeve polo shirt is like, it's like wool looking.
I used to wear it but you can pull it up. You got to pull it up a little bit you can't let it.
You got to have like a 3/4 length sleeves going on.
Well, it can be long, but you pull it up a little bit. At least that's how I used to when I did wear those, I think.
Oh, I'm so glad you don't anymore, Vance. So glad you don't anymore.
I don't wear anything anymore now. I just wear t-shirts.
We podcast naked, everybody. But yeah, Giles is wearing a long sleeve polo. They're ordering up, or they're putting their books in order. And who should show up but our girl Anya, the man-hating demon who skipped town during the Ascension.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we were potentially never going to see her again. But last we left her, she was like crushing on Xander. And Xander was like, I'm a little busy with this whole Ascension thing. And she's like, Ascension? She skips town. We're like, oh, well, that's it for Anya. We haven't seen her in the last 2 episodes. But lo and behold, she is back. And Anya's like, I need to talk to Xander privately. So Giles, go away.
Giles didn't lock his door.
This is my fucking house.
Giles didn't lock his door.
He really needs to do that.
What is going on in this town? Open windows, not locking doors. What is?
I know, especially like it makes sense if they didn't know.
Yeah,
but they know. They know.
Yeah, they're like, Anya, this plot armor is too thick for me. I can do whatever I want.
But Anya walks in and she's like, I gotta talk to Xander, and then Xander, and she takes him outside and she gives him the whole like, what are we conversation.
Yeah. Which is amazing. He's like, what is going on?
He's like, what do you mean? What kind of, she's like, where's our relationship going? And he's like, we went to prom. And then she was like, yeah. And then we had another date planned. And then Xander's like, yeah, but we had the fucking Ascension. Do you remember? Giant snake demon. She's like, yeah, I remember. But I thought that was like a freestanding, we're going to go on a date after, which she is right.
I think it's null and void when you skip town.
All right. I mean, Xander did tell her like, hey, maybe
if we survive the Ascension. He did say if we survive the Ascension. Yeah, technically she's got him on a technicality.
Yeah. But Xander is just like, I don't know what you're thinking, dude. Like this relationship is weird. We went on like what, 1 date at prom, and you just talked to me about all the men that you've killed. And she's like, well, we did have that thing. And look, I gotta tell you, dude, like after prom, I can't stop thinking about you. I have you in my head. I think about you. I dream about you. And sometimes in your dreams, you're naked. And I can't stop thinking about that. And Xander's like, oh, I had that same dream too, but I'm in line at FedEx and it's embarrassing. And Anya's like, look, do you want to go out with me or what? And it seems like Xander's like turning her down, letting her down lightly, because he's like, look, relationships like this, like they need some kind of like spark. And I don't think that we have that yet. And she's like, well, how do we make it happen? He's like, I don't know. It just kind of happens. I can't really explain it, but I haven't felt it yet.
He's not emphatically saying, no, you're a demon. Get the hell out of here.
That's the main point.
Yeah.
But he is kind of leaving it open. It seems like he's trying to let her down nicely without saying the words of like, no, dude, what the fuck? Are you serious? So Anya's kind of like, I mean, so she's a little frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to Buffy and Parker has walked Buffy up completely to her dorm. And she's like, all right, well, this is my place. And Parker's like, all right, well, I'll see you later. You want to hang out again sometime? I'll see you at the party tomorrow. I'll pick you up or whatever. And Buffy's like, yeah, sure. And then they start leaning in to kiss. And they get real close. And then Willow and Oz interrupt them. Because Willow has been bitten. And they're like, Buffy, remember Harmony? Our quote-unquote old friend Harmony? She's back. And Buffy's like, yeah, so what? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Harmony has changed, Buffy. She is, she's paler. She doesn't get a tan anymore. And I love that this is now like their code.
Well, there's also
Buffy
this
should
whole
know
puppy.
immediately.
There's also this whole puppy thing because she blamed like a puppy for her scar.
Yeah.
And now they're blaming a puppy for Willow's neck.
scar. Because like Parker looks at her and she's holding her neck and bleeding from the neck. And he's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And Buffy's like, it's the puppy again. It's back.
I do like a vampire biting your neck. It's just a small little bruise that one bandage could cover.
Yeah.
It's not like they've just like punctured your whole neck and main arteries.
Yeah. But Buffy sends Parker away. She's like, oh, hey, you can go. I'm going to hang out with these two. Parker goes away. And then Willow and Oz basically tell her about Harmony. And they're like, dude, we saw Harmony at the Bronze and she's a vampire now and she bit me. And Buffy's like, holy guacamole. And then Willow's like, and what's worse is she said that she's gonna have her boyfriend come in. Like, it's so lame. Like, she's gonna have her boyfriend come and attack us and find us. Like, anyone that would date Harmony is a fucking jackass, right? And Buffy's like, yeah, that's a total fucking numbskull if you're dating Harmony. And then we go to Harmony walking down into a cave. And she's like, you know what? She taps some guy on the shoulder with a rag over his head. And she's like, schmoopums. I tried to kill Willow and she wouldn't die. I'm just upset. And then her boyfriend turns around, takes the rag off of his head to reveal it is Spike.
Yeah. I read the little blurb that they have, like, just right underneath the episode before you watch it, and it mentioned that Spike was back. And as soon as she said boyfriend, I was like, oh, that's going to be Spike.
You got to stop reading these blurbs, man.
It was just a little thing underneath it.
We keep getting stuff spoiled for us.
I mean, that's not really a spoiler. It's like the description of the episode, like if you were on Netflix or Hulu, like I was. It's not like I read the whole thing. But that was fine. I mean, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, as soon as it happened, I out loud went, oh. Like, I'm alone watching this, everybody. And I went, oh. But that's the commercial break thing. And we're like, oh, shit, Spike's back. So Spike is there in this cave looking for a crypt. And he's talking to some contractor that's like helping him dig through the cave. And he starts bullying him.
Was it a vampire contractor or a regular contractor?
It was a vampire contractor because he had a vampire face.
Yeah, it was so made it funny. It's like the hard hat and he's got the map out.
Yeah.
And it's so silly, man. This hierarchy of vampire lackeys.
Yeah. So Spike's like, well, where's the crypt? And he's like, I don't know. It should be down here somewhere. And then Spike slams his head onto a table. And he's like, this fucking better be sure where it is. Yeah. And the contractor's like, all right, man, take it easy. But Harmony interrupts him. And she's like, look, I don't know if you remember me talking to you earlier, but I saw Willow and I want you to kill her. She was being mean to me. And Spike's like, fucking, I'll kill her later. I can't do it now. Like, I'm trying to stay secretive and not announce my presence, and killing the best friend of the vampire slayer would really fuck up my plans right now, which are to find this crypt. And Harmony's like, I want to go to a party. Why are you always in this fucking cave? Let's go out. And Spike is like, will you shut the fuck up? And in not so many words. This should have been, I wish that this would have been like a rated R TV show or like on HBO, because he has to keep saying like sod off and stuff like that.
I mean, this was Cinemax. This episode was. This was
Cinemax,
it was. Dude.
Dude,
I was like, wait, did they change networks?
Yeah. But Spike gets annoyed with Harmony. He's like, shut the fuck up. He calls her, I don't know if it's in this scene, but he calls her some British word for a woman. Oh, fuck. I forget what it was. But he calls her like a twit or some shit. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I like it when you're a little rough with me, Spike. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're still fucking annoying.
Man, this show and Angel really juggle the balance of like dangerous relationships and domestic, like questionable relationships and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Which we've seen in Buffy previously, and they did not handle it well.
They handle these a little better.
Yeah. So then we go to Buffy and Parker at the party, and there's some band playing, and they're they're like indie rock, like grungy type of shit. Yeah. And they're walking around the party, and they run into Spike and Harmony like immediately.
Well, yeah, Harmony says, you said you would take me out. She keeps mentioning wanting to go to Paris, and like, so yeah, he takes her out. And as soon as she says he's going to take her out, I'm like, oh, I guess he's going to crash the one party in town at the college.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I'll take you out. I know of a place. And so this is the place.
How does he know about this party?
He's Spike, dude.
How did Spike end up with Harmony?
Yeah, I have no clue.
How did Harmony become a vampire?
Well, we saw how she ended up a vampire.
Well, we know being a vampire is more picky, though.
True.
I don't think you had time to turn someone in that chaos.
Yeah, I mean...
But whatever. I don't really... I'm bringing it up to be nitpicky, but I don't really care.
Yeah. But I think it's hilarious that like Spike and Harmony are like carrying some dude out who's passed out.
With a huge wound on his neck.
Yeah. Yeah. And Parker sees this and they're like, oh man, your buddy's not looking so good. Yeah. And Spike's like, oh, so you got a new boy toy there, Buffy. Oh, not as pale as the last one. And Buffy's like, Spike, what the fuck are you doing back here, huh? And he's like, I'm just, in town doing some stuff. And Buffy's like, Harmony, so this is your new boyfriend that I've heard so much about. And Harmony's like, yeah, isn't he great?
Yeah. The scene does a good job of having it be that awkward run-in with exes, like tone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Spike's like, well, I guess this is kind of like a double date, huh? Mm-hmm. And Parker's looking around like, oh, nice to meet you. I'm Parker. He tries to shake Spike's hand.
Yeah.
And then Spike just is like, you know what? I got to get out of here. And he just like tosses the drunk guy down, starts running for the exit. Harmony goes another way. She's running for the exit. Buffy's like, stay here to Parker. She starts the first time ever Buffy's chasing somebody.
Well, I mean, she chases and gets in between Harmony and Spike and somehow gets outside and loses both of them. It's right, like, the staging is so weird.
Yeah. But this is more evidence of why she should chase people, because she runs into them like almost immediately.
Yeah.
She like runs outside and just like kind of peers around a bush and she takes out her stake.
Somewhere like behind a bush where like you can run into someone and no one else sees you.
Yeah.
Like
just the void of bushes.
Yeah.
The infinite featureless void.
She's got a stake at someone's chest and like no one notices the dead guy that just got thrown at Parker.
Dude, no one notices Buffy going around this corner, and there's like, we see like 25 people hanging out outside. Right? Dude, yes. So Spike attacks her from around a corner, punches her, and she's like, oh, what the fuck are you doing back here, Spike? You're with Harmony? What, did Drusilla leave you again? And Harmony is now behind Buffy, and Harmony goes, yeah, she left him for a fungus demon. It's all he ever fucking talks about. And Spike's like, shut up, Harmony! You're ruining my fucking cachet, my aura.
I can't wait for her to come back. I hope she comes back.
Harmony, the ditzy vampire?
No, Drusilla.
Oh, Drusilla.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's it for Drusilla.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like they could bring her back.
They absolutely should.
I think she's coming back. I think she's going to come back for at least an episode or two.
I really liked Drusilla.
If the whole Buffy and Spike thing, which I am so unsure of how that happens.
Yep.
If that is to happen, Drusilla has to be fully out of the picture.
I would like her to come back with like a horde of like a harem of weird demons that she's dating.
Just a weird orgy.
Just to rub it in Spike's face, and he's like, Drew.
No, I think they'll kill her, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, Kendra, revenge. Maybe they'll remember that Kendra existed.
But yeah, so now Spike is like annoyed at Harmony again. He's like, shut up, are you fucking saying my private business? And then he turns to Buffy and he's like, well, don't you worry. Things are about to get a lot more crazy in this town now that I'm back. And then Harmony goes, yeah, and then once we get the gem of Amara, we're gonna fucking show you. And Spike turns around and is like, shut up, you stupid girl. And they just run off.
I mean, she's the worst for him. The worst.
It's so funny though, seeing him having to deal with her.
Yeah. It's like I couldn't see him putting up with, like, I mean, at least they kind of prove why they do it a little later. Yeah. But like, yeah.
It's so funny, dude. And then so they run off. Mm-hmm. And then the next scene we get is Xander in his like basement garage situation where he's living and his parents are
he's living in the basement. Yeah.
But there's an entrance to it. Oh, I guess you could have like a little walk down basement. Yeah. Okay, never mind. But Anya shows up as Xander's hanging up this disco ball. And she's like, hey.
When he was hanging up the disco ball, I was like, did they make a deal to like recreate prom or something? I was like,
that's what I thought.
I was like, what is happening?
That's what I thought. Yeah. Especially when Anya shows up. Yeah. I was like, oh, is he doing this for her to be like, okay, let's restart it, reset.
And I'm like, this is a pretty big jump to go from that conversation to recreating that one night that they had.
Well, I also thought at first that it was at Giles's house. I was like, what are they doing at Giles's house?
Giles is like, I got some jobs for you to do.
Yeah.
Got some swinger friends coming over later.
His fucking new bachelor pad.
Yeah.
But no, they're in Xander's basement and he's hanging up the disco ball and Anya shows up and Xander's very surprised, like, oh, Anya. And she's like, yeah, your mom said that you're in your basement and I thought that I'd come by. And he's like, usually people call or something before they just randomly show up. And she's like, yeah, I don't worry about all that shit. I just wanted to continue our conversation about what our relationship is and where this is going. And Xander's like, I mean, I thought we were pretty clear about it, but I'm not going to kick you out. We can keep talking about it, but let me be a good host. Can I get you anything to drink? I've got cran apple juice. And she's like, that'd be lovely. So Xander walks over to the fridge. He's got his back turned to Anya. And while his back is turned to Anya disrobes herself in front of Xander. She's completely naked. Xander turns back around with the juice in his hand and he squeezes it. It squirts all over the place. And he's like, oh, hello. Fantastic.
Yep. It was a great moment. She's going for what she wants us to get.
Yeah, man. She went from man hating to man boning.
She is a level 5 stalker, though. A level 5 clinger. What is it from?
From Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. It's scary, though. It's scary to have someone like that also know that they used to be a man hating demon with powers.
Scary position. It's a little less scary now that we know that she's not a demon. She doesn't have powers.
But she also doesn't like humans enough that like I feel like she could just kill someone without remorse.
For sure. So then we go to Buffy and Buffy's on a payphone. She's calling Giles and she's like, yeah, I ran into Spike and Harmony. And Giles is like, oh, that's crazy. Spike's back in town? And then Buffy's like, yeah. And then they mentioned something about a gem of Amara. And Giles is like, gem of Amara? No. And Bobby's like, yeah, they mentioned gem of Amara. And he's like,
no way. That's not real. That's like the holy grail for vampires. And we've talked about that Christianity is real in this world. So like the holy grail has to exist. Like everything in the Bible could be true.
Yeah, man.
Like,
I mean, it's wild, but then Giles is like,
why,
Gem of Amara.
Yeah, why deny that when you've been stealing random things all the time? Everywhere.
Dude, there have been all kinds of tokens and talisman.
Yeah.
And like body parts that you need to assemble people. Like, what is, like, why is this one outlandish?
Yeah.
But Giles is like, yeah, Gem of Amara, they're going on a wild goose chase. Here, let me open up the first book I grab, first page I open to.
Right.
Here, I have it right here.
Oh, this thing that doesn't exist and doesn't matter. I keep this on my shelf. It's one of the important books that's ready to go.
So he very leisurely sits down, puts his feet up on a desk. He's like, yeah, here's the passage on the Gem of Amara. It says that anyone that looks for it is a big dumb fuck and it doesn't exist. What's what I said? People have been looking for it for centuries, but no one's ever found it, so it can't exist.
Yeah. Go take another bong rip, Buffy, and leave me alone.
He's like, and the powers is some bullshit about like being powerful and it's vague as fuck. But
it makes the wearer invincible. I mean, like, we just fought an ascension demon. There's no way there's something that makes somebody invincible.
Yeah. But you know what, Buffy? Why don't you get some rest? Why don't you go to sleep? You've been staying up late.
Yeah, I mean, you had a hard time. Your roommate was a demon. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll do some more research, quote unquote research about this bullshit ass fucking Gem of Amara. But why don't you catch some Z's? And Buffy's like, oh, okay, I'll catch some Z's.
Yeah, when he said that, he was like, oh, you've had a long night. Why don't you go to sleep? He has no idea what she's been up to. Oh, just because Spike attacked her, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then she's outside of the party on a payphone. She's like, oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to go to sleep. It's like...
She literally says yawn.
Yeah, it's like... What? He has never once told her to go to sleep. Yeah. Maybe he has, but she probably didn't need to because of... I don't think she does sleep. She naps. I mean, she's a napper. She's a napper.
She should have the worst bags under her eyes, dude. Like, she never sleeps.
Yeah.
But she goes back into the party instead. So then we go to Harmony and Spike, and Harmony is with like a celebrity magazine open, and she's like, Spike, is Antonio Banderas a vampire? Spike's like, no. She's like, can I turn him into a vampire? Spike's like, no. I mean, wait, yeah, actually do that. That'd be cool. Get you out of my fucking hair for a couple weeks, hopefully.
Are they in the tunnel that they're working?
I don't know, because they have a lavish, like, silk sheeted thing, and she's got like a silky, like, nightie on.
Yeah.
I gotta say, dude, Spike is shirtless in this scene. Spike looks pretty fucking jacked.
Oh, he's been working out all last season for this.
Yeah, man, he's been hitting the gym. Good for him, man. But she's like, I want to make people vampires. She's like, didn't she say she wanted to make a doctor a vampire or something?
Oh, she was like, oh, this is so cool. I don't have a pulse. Can we kill the doctor so I can steal a stethoscope and not hear my heartbeat?
Yeah, and then Spike stands up and he goes, shut up! It's like, Jesus Christ. And my neighbors are probably worried now because I just screamed shut up at the top of my lungs.
Can't wait for this to be Buffy and Spike.
And then she's like, oh, I mean, and I don't know how we get from this to this, but Spike yells shut up at her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you're so scary. Look at all these veins. I mean, what are all these blue veins for? And then Spike's like, oh, I know what this means. It means we're about to fuck. And I was like, how? What? What is this?
Well, she was like touching her chest and pushing her chest out at him. And we've seen it earlier scene when he got her up against the wall and started yelling at her, kind of like it's a turn on. They have one of those like BDSM type relationships.
Yeah.
But it's not in a healthy way where it's playful joking. It's like he genuinely dislikes her.
But then she goes over, or Spike crawls up on top of her, and they start like making out. Is this the part where he talks about the chains?
Oh yeah.
Or is that later?
Oh, he talks about the chains, and then she calls Drusilla Dorcas. And he's like, don't say that again. Don't do it.
Yeah, say your actual name. And she goes, Dorcas. And then he just laughs and starts making out with her?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah. And then this sets off a chain of events that...
Yes, it absolutely does.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer has never seen before.
So from this scene where Spike and Harmony start banging, we go back to Anya and Xander. And Anya's just standing in Xander's basement naked. And she's like, look, I've been doing a lot of thinking and I can't get you out of my head. And in my research, the only logical conclusion that I could get to is I need to have sex with you. And once I have sex with you, I'll be able to forget all about you and get you out of my head. And Xander's like, I mean, that probably won't work. And she's like, no, it will work. And he's like, well, look, in order to have sex, you have to have like some preparations. There has to be some stuff going on beforehand. And Anya's like, I've got some condoms. Some of them are black. And Xander's like, that's very considerate of you.
She brings up some good points of like, it's weird for us to have these bodies with interlocking parts and not use them. Like,
yeah.
You know, she's a new to being a human being form, you know?
Yeah. And she like keeps creeping closer and closer to Xander, and Xander's getting more and more like, oh God, this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, so we have these interlocking parts, so why don't we use them? Why don't you take off your clothes? And she starts unbuttoning Xander's clothes. And then Xander is like, I mean, this is crazy, but this is still romantic than Faith. Still more romantic than Faith.
Which is, and I was like, does she know who Faith is? Is she going to be like, who's that bitch? Like,
she definitely knows who Faith is because she was around during the Ascension.
She was around, but did she ever run into Faith though? Because Faith was with the mayor. I don't think she was ever in school with her. I don't think they're ever in a scene. And then she's in the Doppelgang Land episode with Willow. But Faith isn't in that one. And Faith isn't around during the Wish.
The Ascension. Yeah, she's not around during the Wish. She's not around during the Ascent. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she heard through the grapevine.
Oh, yeah.
She was part of the gang for like 2 seconds.
They said, oh, yeah, Faith is part of the Ascension, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's such a great, weird line and so problematic.
Still more romantic than Faith.
God, Xander's got a weird life, man.
Dude, he absolutely does. Yeah. So he's fucked a vampire slayer who is turned into a murderer and a man-hating demon.
Demon that turned into a high school girl?
A human.
Yeah.
Gotta say, also, Anya has changed her hair color. She got brown hair now.
It looks like a crazy wig.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She looks good, though. She's looking good. Good for Xander. So then we go back to Buffy at the party. Buffy like walks back to the party after dealing with Spike and Parker. She finds Parker and she's like, hey, sorry about that, dude. Like, that guy, he's an old friend of mine. He gets kind of dangerous when he drinks. And Parker's like, no, you did a good thing. You know, and she's like, I'm sorry. And then Parker's like, yeah, you guys used to date? And Buffy's like, no.
Not till later this season.
Quite the opposite of date, actually. And he's like, oh, okay, thank God. Anyway, you want to dance? And Buffy's like, I'd love to dance. And then they start dancing. And the song that is playing while they're dancing.
Did you look it up? Do you know it?
I had closed captionings on. Mm-hmm. And I was reading the lyrics as they're doing it. Because number one, the melody and like tone of the song is not romantic at all. Like it's like it starts out and the lady's singing about the Reaper and losing life and all this shit.
Isn't it "We Are the Lucky Ones"? Like that's what they keep saying.
Well, that's the chorus.
The chorus.
But like the first words of the song are talking about like the Grim Reaper and losing life and shit. And the sound of the song is just like not romantic. It seems like
it's not romantic, but it's also not a song that we'll be playing. When he asked to dance, I was like, wait, what? Because I've been to a fair share of parties in college. I'll admit. I've been to some of those red cup solo cup keggers.
It doesn't sound like you have it.
Those red cup. I've been to a
party.
I've been to a shindig.
Fuck you. I've been to a bunch. I've got friends.
My thought is, when he said, "Oh, can I dance? You want to dance?" I was like, "Wait, what are they going to dance like?" And then the music drastically changes to this song.
Yeah,
like who puts this on the playlist at this type of party?
Yeah, because before the band was playing like grunge rock, and then they start playing this like grunge rock.
Oh,
ballad.
We're gonna slow it down for the couples. Like, what?
So yeah, they start dancing and slow dancing and shit, and then we go over to post the dance, and Parker's talking to Buffy about like why he switched from being a pre-med major to a history major. It's because like, you know, I feel like history, man, it's like, you know, people think of it as like just dates and historical events, and no one's really thinking about like the people involved in those events, man. All those people, you know, we think that like all this stuff like just happened, but like these people have made choices, man. And Buffy's like, oh my God, this is the most romantic guy I've ever fucking talked to.
Does he look too pretty to you? Like it looks like he has too much like, it's like you can see the stubble coming through the makeup, but it's like they tried to make him look so like innocent. I don't know. It's something about him that just like.
Well, he's got what I've heard from several women is like the ideal, like beautiful man thing is that he has dark hair and blue eyes, which I've heard is like from women that's like the sexiest thing ever. He also has like pretty thick eyebrows too, which is a good look. I mean, Parker's a hot fucking guy.
He reminds me of like, for some reason, like I'm thinking like Team America, that like main character in that, and like that puppet. He looks like the main puppet in that Team America. I mean,
he kind of looks like a Kroger brand John Stamos or something. Like he's tan, he's got blue eyes, his hair is like beautiful.
It just is something like too perfect about it, which I think that's what they were going for anyway.
Yeah, my sisters said this one celebrity, I forget who it was, but she was saying that like he has all of the like pretty parts, like he has like beautiful eyes, beautiful hair, beautiful jaw, but like all of it together doesn't look right. So that's kind of like what I'm feeling about Parker, because like he's just like so handsome that it doesn't make sense. Like it looks weird.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like not really an insult on him. It's just like makes you like, I don't know.
But then he's like, you know, I through my history major, it's how I formed my life outlook and like making choices. And Buffy's like, so what's a choice you'd like to make right now? And he's like, I got a fucking choice for you. And then he kisses her. And then he goes, is this okay? And Buffy's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. And then Buffy's like, I'm going to make a choice right now too. And she leans in, she starts smooching him some more. And then they go back to Parker's place and clothes are coming off. And boy, this is 3 bangs and 3 scenes, man.
Yeah, I was like, what? Did they switch networks? Like, why? Like, I get it. They're in college. I didn't know college was like, okay, now you can have sex. Like,
yeah. So while they're fucking, Giles calls Buffy and he's like, I found something about the Gem of Mara. Actually, it's not made up.
Oh, I should have read this. I should have read the second chapter of this.
So like, give me a call when you get a chance. And Buffy's too busy getting it on.
I will say he called Buffy's room, Buffy and Willow's room. Willow's always going to be in Oz's place because I guess we don't know what Oz lives with. We have roommates, but they have a good setup where Buffy's got the place to herself if she needs it.
Yeah.
But she's at his place though.
Yeah, which I thought that they were back at her place, but they're back at his place
too. Because they cut the close up, so it's really hard to tell.
So now it's the next morning and Buffy wakes up, she's naked and Parker's gone. And she's like, oh, well, this is awkward. She does the whole little PG-13 wrap the sheets around her as she looks for her pants. She's like, I gotta find my pants.
Does he not have roommates? Is he a solo roomer? Was that?
It looks like it because he doesn't have another bed in there, but he's got a bunch of fucking trash on his floor.
Room's massive.
It's huge and just trash.
Yeah.
I mean, get it together, dude. Like, I know that that's the stereotype of like college dudes, like they're messy and there's just like ramen cups all over, but like, God, dude, like, fucking, you're gonna bring a girl back to your place, you gotta spruce it up a little bit.
Yeah. At least slide everything under the bed.
Yeah, or like into the closet, something, man.
Yeah, the 3 walk-in closets that room probably
has. So Buffy's looking for her pants, and she's like, I guess this is just how it goes. But it is not how it goes, because Parker comes back and he's like, hey, sorry to dip out. I just I thought you were going to be passed out for a little bit, so I went and I got us some coffee. Mysteriously, Parker has 3 cups in this thing.
I saw it. The 3rd cup is like the creamer and the other stuff. Yeah, I looked at it too, and I was like, what's going on? And it's like, oh, the 3rd. This was back when you would have that extra cup, and he would just shove all the like packets of sugar and creamer and stuff in there.
All right, now that makes sense, because I didn't pay that much attention. I was like, why does he got fucking 3 cups?
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, I just wanted to get a coffee. I got you some coffee too. And Buffy's like, oh my God, I thought that you just bailed on me. You went and got me coffee. You're such a gentleman. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. And Buffy's like, well, that was really awesome last night. And he's like, yeah, it fucking was. And she's like, I mean, the only other person I fucked was a dead guy. But anyway.
She's like, I've never had a bad time.
It's good to have some living dick for once.
Wait, you didn't turn evil, did you? Or did you?
But Buffy's like, so what are you up to tonight? And Parker's like, oh, actually, I had my mom coming to visit. So and Buffy's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll skedaddle here. But we should hang out again. And Parker's like, yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a call later tonight. And Buffy's like, thank God. I'll wait around for that call. Parker's like, you do that.
Like, weirdo, don't wait.
Yeah. So then we go to Anya and Xander. And they're buttoning up after their night of fucking rollicking good time.
And putting fabric softener in the laundry.
Oh, right. And they're getting dressed, and Anya's like, all right, thank you for that. I am now over you. And she's sitting on the bed looking like off into the distance like, is this what being over you feels like? Because I don't feel like I'm over you. And then Xander's like, oh, well, okay. And then Anya turns over and goes, okay. And then she gets up and storms out. And Xander's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, well, she says, well, I think I'm over you now. And then he's like, okay. And she's so mad that he's okay with her lying about being over him. And it's like, yeah, dude is in it deep, man.
Yep. Yep. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out if it continues. If it doesn't continue, I'm like, why did you even bring her back for this? It has to. I hope it does. Yeah. I like Anya now. You know, me and her have had our beef in the past. Look, bygones be bygones.
I think that beef is one-sided.
Me and Anya, we've had our, rough waters, but you know what? I forgave her, especially after Doppelgangland, which was a great episode. Mm-hmm. And now I'm happy that she's in it. Yeah, so she storms off, and Xander's like, what the fuck, dude? And then we go to Harmony and Spike is passed out, and Harmony's drawing on his back. She draws a gigantic heart. And inside the heart, it says Harmony and Spike forever. And Spike wakes up and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I'm drawing on you. Now that we fucked again, you think we can go out and go to a party and go to Paris or something? And Spike is like, will you shut up? You're so annoying. And then he's like, I got to go to work. I can't take you to fucking Paris. I got to go to the tunnel. And then Harmony goes, you fucking love that tunnel more than me. And then Spike goes, I love syphilis more than you. He just gets up and walks away.
I mean, this stretch of like the hookups and the morning afters is just epic.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It is a wild couple of scenes.
Yeah.
So Spike walks off and Harmony's left there to be like, I want to go to France. So now Buffy walks back to her dorm room. She opens the door and she starts to walk towards her bed, and Giles and Willow are there. And Buffy turns around. She's like, oh, fuck. I was not here. I was in the library studying. And everyone knows that Buffy is not a study bug.
Yeah.
And so everyone looks at her all skeptically. And Buffy's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm an adult. I don't need to tell you where I was. I made an adult decision. You don't need to know where I was at. And Giles is like, good, thank God. Anyway.
You would think they'd be more concerned about her well-being, knowing what they know of the story. Like, if she's not there, you think, oh, was she kidnapped?
Right. Or killed or something.
My thing wouldn't have been like, oh, she's off banging.
So Giles and Willow are at the computer, and Giles is like, well, you know what, Buffy? Remember how I laughed in your face about that gem of Amara and said it was all made up and you're a dumb dipshit for believing in it? Well, guess what? I did one night of research and found out that it is, in fact, not fake.
It's and also actually in Sunnydale.
It also exists in Sunnydale.
Here are 30 drawings of it.
Yeah. And a map to where it is and what it does.
If only we'd spent 2 minutes trying to find this before.
So Buffy kind of rolls her eyes and she's like, great, fucking Spike is here. It exists in Sunnydale and it gives everyone this amazing power. Great. You guys keep doing some research, seeing if you can figure out where it's at. I'm going to go and try and find Spike, and I'm going to try and beat him up before he gets to it, all right?
Yeah.
And break.
Yeah, I was like, you guys didn't give her much more information.
Yeah. And then so Giles is like, all right, I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. And so Giles leaves, and then Willow closes the door, turns around, and she goes, so did you and Parker fuck or what?
Yeah.
And Buffy's like, yeah, we fucked.
She is a girlfriend in a rom-com hard.
Yeah. Willow's like, how was it? Was it good? Was it better than fucking a dead guy? And Buffy's like, I mean, it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. It was really nice. And Willow's like, awesome. 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 So what's next? What's the plan? Are you guys going to go out again? And Buffy's like, well, he said he was going to call me later tonight because his mom is visiting, but I'm really excited to see where this goes. And Willow's like, this is always the best part. This is the best part. Try, discovering where it's going to go. It's so fun and exciting.
That is where I was like, Willow's talking as if she's dated more than one person ever.
Right?
I was like, you've dated Oz, cheated on him, and then dated him again. And you're talking like, oh, this is the best part. Will we, won't we? I'm like,
yeah.
That's not how you and Oz's relationship worked.
Yeah.
You had more of that with Xander.
Yeah. Which, again, led to nothing.
Led to Cordelia breakup.
Yeah. So then we go back down to the caves and the tunnels, and Spike has found the crypt. He sees it and he's like, oh, hell yeah, we found the crypt. You know what this means, everybody? Nobody can leave this lair, all right? Because we don't want to call attention to ourselves. We don't want the Slayer poking her nose around our business. We found the crypt. Nobody leave. And then Harmony's like, oh, we fucking told me to take me to France. And then all of the construction worker vampires all roll their eyes and like, oh, and they just walk off.
Yeah, like, it was great.
Here we go. Spike's going to have to deal with this.
They all dropped all pretenses and just was like, yeah, that's it. We're out here.
And then so Harmony's like, schmoopums, you never take me anywhere, and I'm stuck in this fucking lair because we found a crypt. And then Spike just slams her up against a wall. And he's like, wait, listen, you fucking stupid bitch. Shut the fuck up. This is the only reason I came back to Sunnydale, is to find this crypt and to find the gem of Amara. And if you fucking ruin this for me, I swear to God, I'm going to kill you. And then Harmony's like, Jesus Christ. And Spike's like, he's still like pissed off. He's like, why don't you go fuck off? And she's like, I don't know why I let you be so mean to me. And he's like, that's love, babe.
He says love hurts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, I'm happy they don't let that message linger. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
Tough stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And he's Love's bitch. He should know.
Yeah, he does. He is Love's bitch. This is the scene where he called her some kind of derogatory British word.
It was almost, was it the same word? It almost sounded like that word that,
no, it wasn't.
Okay.
It absolutely wasn't, because
I remember that word. But they are looking up there like, what censors will let us use
Yeah. But so then we have a montage of Buffy walking around with her yearbook and pictures of Harmony being like, hey, on her college campus, like, you seen this girl? And the song that's playing is so bizarre. It's like this weird techno song.
Yeah, if we can't recognize Harmony after all the episodes we've seen, what makes you think any of these students will?
But this is also like Buffy, she's looking for Harmony, or if anybody knows or have seen Harmony, but also feverishly going back to her phone message machine to see if Parker has left her a message, and he has not.
Is there a part where he goes, you have 0 messages?
Yeah.
Like, that's such a... You can't do that these days, and it's so good.
Yeah. But the techno music like was so weird to me. It was like this. I was like, whoa, this is like an action scene music.
And it's just people walking around being boring.
Yeah.
I did like Spike drilling up in the ceiling with the welder's mask.
Yeah, and then a bunch of dust just falls on his face.
Yeah.
But he drills up into the ceiling and climbs up into the crypt. And he's looking around. There's a bunch of jewels all over the place. And he's like, okay, well, I think I found this one. It's a little chain that is lying on top of a skeleton. He's like, that's it. That's the gem of Amara. Fuck yeah, I found it. This is awesome. And then Harmony pokes her big stupid head up. And she's like, whoa, look at this place, dude. This is fucking crazy. Look at all these jewels. Can I steal some of this? And Spike's like, I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want. I got the gem of Amara. And Spike...
Right when that happened, I knew. I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen here.
Yep. So Harmony goes over and she starts putting on all this jewelry. And she's got a tiara on. She's putting on necklaces. And she's like, dude, maybe we could take some of this and sell it, and then we can finally go to France. And Spike's like, will you shut the fuck up about France?
I know. When did he make that promise? In the throes of passion?
I guess so. But Spike puts on the necklace that he is like, this is the gem of Amara. And he walks over to Harmony, who is still babbling about France. And he takes a giant wooden spike. He breaks something off. He... makes a stake out of a wooden thing, and he's like, I just want to fucking kill you. I'm going to do it right now. Stabs her in the chest, pulls it out, and the wound just heals itself.
Yeah.
And Spike looks like, wait, what? Like record scratch?
Yeah.
And he grabs a cross and he puts it to her forehead. And she's like, what are you doing, you big dumb idiot? And he's like, what the fuck is going on here? Wait a minute. You've got my gem. And she's like, well, I don't know, I guess. And he just starts grabbing at her finger. He takes the ring off of her. Yeah. He's like, I don't give a fuck what you do now. I'm out of here. I got the gem of Amara. Now that I know what its full potential is, it makes you unkillable. I don't give a fuck. I'm out of here. Later, deuces. And he leaves, and Harmony's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, he says it, and she's like, oh, fine, here, take it, I don't care. Like, he's trying to fight it off her, and she gives it to him. She, like, throws it at him. Like, yeah. It's like, it has that connotation of, like, a wedding ring being taken off, kind of thrown back at the person. But it's
Spike also has the most hilarious jump down into a hole as well.
It reminded me of when Faith and Buffy jump in a hole in Bad Girls or something. Yeah. They like, whoop. A little sound effect.
Little Mario fucking.
But yeah, I thought when she had it, she was going to be like, if you want this. Like I thought she was going to use some of that. Like,
take me to France.
Yeah. But basically, you can just rip it off someone's finger.
Yeah.
It's not. And it's crazy he walked in there, saw all these jewels, and was like, gotta be this one.
Yeah, the one that's around the guy's neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not too cool to unclasp the necklace or something, she says. It's such a funny line. Because he just rips it off the neck. Yeah.
So he is now on the loose. He's got the gem of Amara, and now he knows that it makes him invincible. Mm-hmm. So then we go to Giles' apartment, and Oz is looking at Giles' records, and he's like, holy fuck, dude, you've got the best record collection. And Giles is like, look, we've got more important things to deal with. And then Oz is like, what about this record? And Giles is like, that is a pretty important record, actually. That's a pretty sick record that I got.
Yeah, I'm pretty awesome. I'm pretty cool.
And then Xander is there, too, and he goes, look, fucking Giles has a TV like the rest of us. He's not a fucking just a reading books kind of guy. He's a lowly heathen like the rest of us. And Giles is like, no. And then Willow's like, maybe it's just a work of art or something. It doesn't turn on. Xander turns it on, and Giles is like, it's just public TV. It's nothing crazy.
Willow looks so hurt.
Yeah. She's like, my fellow bookworm isn't just a bookworm.
Yeah.
She's like, bitch, don't you know about the Ripper?
The Ripper's a wild man, you know?
Yeah. He watches TV.
He watches like whatever on that little tiny TV with only the 8 channels.
Yeah. But when they turn on the TV, you know, Giles is like, shut the fucking TV off. We got more important thing to do. We got to research this stuff. You know, it's potential end of the world situation going on here. There's nothing on the TV that's going to help us. And on the TV is a news report. They're like, a giant sinkhole opened up and there's a bunch of tunnels under the ground and it looks like there might be vampires doing it.
I would have loved if the TV was like, wrong again, Giles.
Beep, 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 beep. This just in, Giles, you're wrong. Beep, 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 beep. But yeah, it talks about tunnels and then all of them look like fuck.
Yeah, there's a big sinkhole in the middle of Sunnydale, this horrible, horrible place.
Yep.
It has a giant sinkhole.
Yeah, and they all grab their coats and they're like, that's probably something we should explore.
Yeah.
Let's go visit that.
They don't turn the TV off, I noticed, though.
They're just wasting electric. What are they, Rockefellers?
I know. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't lock his door. He doesn't turn his TV off. He really is a fucking crazy person.
Half at the grotto, man.
Yeah.
You can't lock the door. He never knows who's coming through.
True. So yeah, then Buffy's walking around campus and she sees Parker. And she's like, Parker? And Parker's got his leg up on a bench. And he's macking on some other girl. And he's telling her the exact same my dad sob story that he told Buffy. Oof. And I was like, oh, stake through my heart. And Buffy walks up to him and he's like, and she's like, Parker? And he's like, oh, hey, what's up, Buffy? Yeah, this is fucking Mary Louise, whatever her name is. And she waves at Buffy like all like seductively, like, hey. And she's like, all right, I gotta. And Parker goes, hey, don't you gotta get to class, Mary Louise? And she's like, oh yeah, you're right. So she gets up and she just leaves.
Yeah. Dude.
And then so Buffy's like, so who was that? Was that a friend of yours? And Parker's like, oh yeah. She's a friend of mine. What's going on, Buff? How's it going? And she's like, it's going good, man. What's up with you? I was worried about you. And he's like, what? Why? And she's like, you said that you were going to call and I would understand if you're like busy or sick or something, but it looks like you're doing pretty good. He's like, what do you mean? It's only been a couple days. Well, I was like, yeah, well, you said you were going to call me that night. And Parker's like, look, babe. I mean, what do you want from me? I mean, didn't you have fun? And I was like, yeah, I had fun. And he's like, yeah, we had fun. And she's like, well, I thought that you liked me. And he's like, I do like you. And Buffy's like, but why didn't you fucking call me then? He's like, oh, you thought no, oh, honey, no. You think this led to some kind of like commitment? No, I'm slanging this dick all over campus, girl. And Buffy's like, is that all I am to you? And he's like, yeah, maybe I'll give you a call some other time, but I gotta go. Look, I gotta go. See ya. And then he leaves, and Buffy's like, I got played.
Buffy has the reaction she got when her dad was telling her that he didn't love her.
Yeah. Well, it's also like Buffy then apologizes to him, and I was like, yo, this is some...
Yeah, she like he walks off, and then she goes, she's like, hey, I'm sorry, I handled it. I misunderstood the thing. I handled this wrong.
Well, she keeps being like, did I do something wrong? He's like, no, you're great. I just, I'm a playboy. Look at me. Yeah. I'm so fucking handsome.
Yeah. And this really makes us think about when he was flirting with her roommate when she came in.
Yes.
Kathy, when he was just there. He's like, oh yeah, my dad. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you like hockey too? Like, he was on that bed. He knew what he was doing. He was like,
he's
2
a playboy,
for 1,
man.
So yeah, like to dive into this scene, it's a realistic feeling for Buffy to feel like she did something wrong because of the manipulative way that it was not played up, like walking around telling her to take chances, talking about the dead dad and your feelings. That's not the talk of like, oh, this is just a hookup.
No,
and they've been hanging out for a while too.
Yeah, I mean, she talks about like we've been hanging out incessantly for like weeks.
Yeah,
or a week, I think.
Yeah. And this stuff happens.
It does.
It sucks. It sucks on both sides. Like, I mean, he's obviously the one that's wrong, and she, understandably, Buffy's in a weird spot because she's only been with one guy that she loved forever, who she had a really weird relationship with, and now she had this other guy let down her barriers, has some trust issues, and now finds this out.
Yeah.
And she's rationalizing and trying to figure out where it went wrong. And there's no rationalizing besides this guy played her. And yeah.
See, I will go out on a limb here and I'll play devil's advocate. I don't think Parker did anything like wrong. He definitely like played her, but there's nothing like
I think my problem with Parker comes down to you thought this was a commitment thing, when he really weaseled her into, like, he was, every line that he says is like trying to break down those barriers to, like, knowing that she doesn't necessarily want to do this unless it is like a hookup thing. Like she's not doing what Anya's doing to Xander. Where it's like, hey, I just want to have sex with you. There's more of emotional manipulation into it, which is part of the flirtation and hooking up with people thing too. But for him to kind of do that weird, light, low flame gaslighting of like, oh, why would you ever think that was what it is? That's where I think Philly's wrong.
I like that terminology of low flame gaslighting. That was so clever, dude. I never heard that before.
I mean, I think I just made it up. I don't know.
Dude, you're a fucking genius, man. That was good.
Yeah, because it's not high level.
Yeah, it's not high level gaslighting, but he also is like, you didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to have fun. We were having fun, but it doesn't mean that we're like in a committed relationship. And this is, look, I think that this is like it sucks. It sucks for Buffy.
Yeah.
But this is an important lesson for Buffy.
Yes.
To learn, like, if you want commitment / relationship stuff, you're going to have to lay that boundary down and like figure out where people are coming from before you get hooked up into something like this again. Like, this was a very important lesson for her to learn. But I don't, a lesson that she would have learned,
a lesson she would have learned if she kept hanging out with Faith.
Yeah.
Faith is like aggressively on the other side over it. Well, Faith does this to dudes.
Yeah.
Like, Xander thought maybe they had something, and she's like, what? Who? Like, Buffy tells Xander that she kind of just takes guys that she hooks up with as a joke. And he's like, but I don't feel bad. Like,
that's the thing, is like, Buffy should know that.
She should
if she knows that like Faith does that. You know what I mean?
What they're doing with the episode is trying to do a 3-layered thing, though, where each one is a different level of that, and she falls into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Parker's playing the dead dad card, so he's already lost.
That is pretty.
He's
pretty
low.
wild.
It's low.
That's pretty wild.
It's low. Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, like if he was just doing
bring up
like
the dead dad. Yeah.
If he hooked up with her and he was like, oh yeah, this is fine, but you know, whatever. I just kind of wanted to hook up, and I did enjoy hanging out with you. That's fine. But then he does the like commitment thing. He lies about his parents coming. Like, he also did the shove off too. The way he shoves off.
That's the thing that I was going to say. I think his big fuck over is like, he seemed like the perfect gentleman. Like, he went and got her coffee and all this stuff. But then he said that he was going to call her and he didn't. Where he
probably got 2 coffees for himself and he was like, fuck, she's still here.
I think that, because it doesn't seem like he's the type of person to back out on promises until after he bones. And now it's like,
absolutely.
Now nothing matters, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's like completely using her for that, but he'll go the full distance.
I feel for Buffy here.
Yeah. Buffy has been wronged. And if Parker, they didn't do it where Parker's fully innocent and it's just like a real confusion. Like he's a dirtbag in the way that they're presenting in the way they're presenting it with the dead dad story and
the dead dad thing is wild.
They're doing that to show that he's like just manipulating people into like sob stories for hookups. So that's what I mean. If he was just like a regular guy, they hung out, hooked up, and he didn't like her, then it could be a little more gray. But this one isn't as gray just because of that. Mm. But this stuff does happen in the gray area of like hookups. Oh my God, we just hung out and hooked up. You thought it was a commitment, like Anya's thinking it's a commitment because they went on a date. So like that's the balance that this episode's playing.
So then Parker's like, hey, look, you're bad vibes. I gotta blow.
Deuces.
So he leaves, and then Buffy's left sitting there like, oh God, I got fucking played. I thought that guy liked me. I got played. And from behind the bushes, you hear, wow, that was pathetic. And then Buffy turns around and gets punched in the face by Spike.
And Spike has like his guards up when he throws a punch too. It's like an interesting pose.
Yeah, he punches directly at the camera.
Yeah. So funny that this is happening right on campus. There were so many people around.
Yes, there were.
Just like 2 little steps away.
And what's even wilder is when we come back from commercial break and Buffy has been knocked to the ground, and then Buffy and Spike get into an all-out brawl.
And we have to say, Spike is out in the daylight because of the ring, which is an interesting look.
And he rubs it in Buffy's face. He's like, it's a pretty amazing day to be out here in the daylight and unkillable. And Buffy's like, oh, so that you finally got that gem of Amara, I guess, and that made you invincible? And he's like, yep. And they start duking it out. Buffy takes out a stake, stakes him, and he's like, oh, it's not going to work today, babe. And then she takes it out. They keep fighting, and they all they are fighting hard. Flips, punches, kicks, throwing each other into fucking furniture, over furniture. And now every soul in Sunnydale has disappeared. Not a person in sight to witness any of this.
You don't even hear birds chirping anymore. It's just
they're like in the quad. Like even if you're a mile away, you could see something, you know?
You would be like, hey, is that guy wailing on that girl?
Yeah, dude.
And also, why was this his plan? He was like, oh, I'm invincible? I guess I'm just going to walk up to her at campus.
Yeah.
And he shows her the ring, too, which is the worst move.
He had the drop on her.
The worst move ever is he's like, oh, guess what? I got the thing. Here it is on my hand. Like, I would show up with so much jewelry on, she'd be like reaching forever trying to figure out which one it is. You know?
Just looking like a fucking pickup artist with all your jewelry.
She'd hear
goggles, me coming. Fuzzy hat.
Yeah. She's like, like, is it the brooch?
That's hilarious.
Is it a studded belt? Like, what is the jewel? Like, yeah.
But yeah, then we go to the crypt where the gang, sans Buffy, is like, oh, we found the crypt. And they find Harmony there. And Harmony's like, they're like, where's Spike? And Harmony's like, I don't know. He beat me up and he's mean to me. And they're like, okay,
she says being a vampire sucks. And then turns into vampire face. Because they got it down.
Oh yeah, they got it now.
Her first vampire turn was great. It was like a hair flip thing, and it just instantly turned. It was great.
Yeah. So then we go to Xander, and Xander's looking all over campus for Buffy. He goes to her dorm. He's banging on the dorm room door. No one's answering, and he turns, and Anya's there, stalker level.
I can't with Anya. Like if I'm him, I would be terrified. She showed up at Giles' house, at his house. And now at campus with Buffy. How does she know where all these people live?
Yeah, she either is like detective level researcher or stalking Xander.
Yeah, and it's
following him.
Yeah.
So she walks up to Xander and she's like, hey, so, I know we fucked and I'm totally over you, except for I'm not over you. And I want to bang again and I want to keep seeing you. And Xander just grabs her by the shoulders like, bitch, I ain't got the time. I gotta go.
And she looks hurt.
She looks
real
so
butthurt. And it's weird how Xander is the best guy in this episode out of the three.
Yeah. Like, this is just a misunderstanding at this point.
Well, I mean, it's not even a misunderstanding. She's obsessed with him, and he told her that they need to like work to get the relationship going. Then she had sex with him, saying that this would be like, okay, if we do this, then it's fine.
Yeah.
And now it's not fine still. And he's like, hey, like, again, we have to take this slow. Like, so she has the feeling. She can't help her feelings. But Xander is not doing anything to make her feel like it's reciprocated at all.
Yeah. But yeah, he kind of just grabs her and is like, look, I don't have time for this right now. I gotta go. And he leaves and Anya is crushed.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Buffy and Spike fighting. Like, this is an extended fight scene. They're fighting so much, so loudly, breaking through shit.
I can't help just watching. It's like stunt person, not a stunt person, stunt person, not a stunt person, stunt person, not a stunt person. But it's fun. They're flipping people over tables. No one's around.
Yeah. Then eventually Xander tries to like sneak up from behind.
Yeah.
Tries to get the drop on Spike. And Spike fishes it out so quickly. He just turns around, grabs Xander, and just chucks him. Xander goes flying.
Yeah, I thought Xander had broken all of his back. He hit that wall and crashed. And it's weird that he even shows up there because it does nothing. It does nothing to help the fight.
Yeah. So Spike is just like wailing on Buffy. And then he starts taunting Buffy as he's beating the shit out of her. And he's like, oh, man, so what happened with you and that guy, huh? What did he do to get those pretty little legs spread open? And Buffy, he wails on Buffy again. He goes, well, I don't know what you did wrong that you're not worth a second go, but you must suck in bed. And he beats her up again. He goes, oh, you know what? I actually talked to somebody that didn't want to fuck you after the first time. You remember him? Guy named Angel. And then Buffy goes full Hulk.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know it's gonna happen, but I can't wait. I can't wait to see how they do this. How this relationship goes from animosity to more. I don't know the full details. I just know it's out there.
We know he's a love interest at some point.
And I just can't see how it happens.
Yeah. Because he's so evil. Like, the last time we saw Spike, he was like a goofball and he was hurt.
He was evil and killing people before, but he was but he was a love-hurt person.
Yeah, when Drusilla left him for the first demon and he was like talking to Joyce and all this shit. Now he's back to like straight up fucking evil Spike. Like,
yeah. Which I like. And like, I don't want him to like have a weird thing where like, oh, I have my soul back and I'm like a normal... I'm a kind, like, I don't want that. And I don't think that it works that way. He still needs to be this version of a version of this Spike.
Yeah.
But I don't know how
Buffy could ever comes from.
I don't know how Buffy could be like, oh yeah, when you did that and that and that and that.
Yeah. But anyway, this is when Spike brings up Angel, she gets all rage mode and she gets up and she starts beating the shit out of Spike.
You got cocky, man.
Yeah. And she beats him up so much that she just yanks the gem off of his finger.
Yeah.
And then Spike's just out in daylight and he's like, oh, fuck it. He jumps into a hole.
Well, his thing, she gets an arm lock on him and she's got it and he's about to take it off. He's like, if you take this off, we both will burst into flames. And she's like, I'm willing to risk it.
Yeah.
He just rips it off and he just starts... I don't know how he has time to get underground.
Yeah.
In time. But yeah.
Yeah, he's like, if you do it like this, we'll both burn. Because she's like on top of him. And if he bursts into flames, she's going to obviously she's going to get caught in the fire. But she just takes it off and then he runs away and jumps into a manhole or something or some kind of sewer. And yeah, so then she goes to the gang. And
if you're Buffy You take that ring off and you hold him down.
Right?
You finish the job, man.
At least like part of him.
You know, like break his leg right there so he can't move and he's just done.
Yeah. No, but he just jumps into a sewer.
Till next time.
Yeah. So then she talks to the gang about what happened. She's like, yeah, so I got the ring. Spike is still at large. But what should we do about this? The gang's like, what should we do about the ring? And Buffy's like, I know what we should do with the ring. It makes vampires unkillable and it lets them walk out into the sunlight. I got the perfect person that we should give it to. And then Xander's like, who?
He's still not that bright.
Yeah. And Willow turns to him. She's like, she's going to give it to Angel. Don't make a big fuss about it. And Xander's like, oh, okay. And then
the
Giles
look on his face is great. The look on Xander's face is like, well, I guess so.
And then Giles even looks at Buffy. He's like, are you sure about this? You sure you want to give this to Angel? And she's like, yeah, he deserves it. He's a good guy. And then Oz is like, well, I got a gig in LA. I could drop it off to him. And she's like, yeah, that'd be nice. You go do that.
Yeah. So I can understand Giles being like, I don't know about giving this ring to the person that might just go evil at any point. And now he's invincible. Because Angelus is even worse than Spike.
Yeah. I also just don't know who's like stronger. Like Spike,
it doesn't matter. Like Buffy was getting her ass kicked by some random vampire last episode.
True. She got her ass kicked by that lady Sunday or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Was that the first episode or was that?
That was the first episode.
The first episode. That demon definitely kicked her ass.
Oh yeah.
And then, but then she can handle Angel and Spike sometimes. Like it's whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, Oz is like, I got a gig in LA. I know that Angel lives there now. I'm going to go, I'll drop that off to him. And Buffy's like, thank you. And then so Buffy's now walking around with Willow at night. And she's like, what did I do wrong with that Parker guy? I still can't get over him. I still want to be with him. Like, maybe I should just stop fucking guys. Is that what happens when I have sex with a guy and they just turned evil? And Willow's like, no, dude, he's a poop head. Don't worry about it. Shit happens. This is an important lesson for you to learn. And Buffy's like, yeah, you're right.
Willow's got all this life experience of her one boyfriend.
And then Buffy's like, but I still can't get him out of my head. Maybe I should talk to him. Maybe I should try and work things out. And Willow's like, dude, what did I just fucking say? This guy is a piece of shit. And Buffy's like, yeah, you're right.
I'm going to call him.
Yeah, she's like, I still kind of want him. And then Buffy drops Willow off at her dorm.
She does not drop her off.
She drops her off in the middle of the quad.
She goes, you know what? You go on. I want to walk. And I'm just like, man, get her to the door at least.
Yeah. And Willow's like, you sure? And Buffy's like, yeah, I want to go on a walk alone. Mm-hmm. And then so she's like, okay. So Buffy starts walking alone. And you see her walking around like, fuck, I got played. And I kind of miss Angel. And I want things to work out with Parker. And then we go to Anya. And Anya is also walking alone. And Anya's like, fuck. I'm still obsessed with Xander. I thought the banging him was going to make it better, and it didn't. And then you cut to Harmony. And Harmony's like, fuck, I got an abusive boyfriend. I got Stockholm Syndrome. And then I don't know why he's so mean to me. And I'm a vampire now, and everything is terrible. And they're walking in this like weird triangle.
Yeah, on the quad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Buffy, killed one or two of them.
Yeah. And that is where the episode ends. And if you want to hear the thrilling conclusion of this ring of fucking, what is it?
Amara. Amara, right? Amora?
Amara, the gem. Gem of Amara.
Powerful gem that doesn't exist, but it totally does exist.
Totally it does. And now we have to call into question Giles' thing about leprechauns. Because he was very certain. Well, he wasn't. He was like, not as far as I know that leprechauns exist. Leprechauns definitely exist.
It was so funny him laughing this off.
Like, dude, he laughed in her fucking face over the phone about it. He was just like, fucking, what? The gem of Amara?
They all know about it. The Watchers all study it.
Yeah.
What's the point?
There's like a bunch of fucking like chapters about it,
like
apparently.
2 books.
Yeah. So yeah, the saga of the Gem of Amara continues on Angel. And you can listen to our Patreon exclusive podcast, Boys Watching Angel, by signing up for our Patreon. It's $5 a month. And we also have an $8 a month tier where we do Angel and movies. But enough about that. The next episode, Vance, of Buffy is titled Fear Itself. What do we think?
Like a Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger type thing. Freddy Krueger. People are getting scared to death. I don't think we'll have dreams, but maybe,
I was going to say, we just had a dream thing.
No, we won't have dreams. We'll definitely have like maybe people. We've done people's greatest fears too in the Nightmares episode. Now we have to start thinking about how these will tie into an Angel follow-up.
Yeah.
Because the title of this and the title of the Angel episode are very linked.
They're linked.
Yeah.
All right, Fear Itself. What do I think is going to happen? I think that Buffy's going to have to fight a Franklin Delano Roosevelt person who turns out to be a vampire, like a FDR. What are those things called? Like cosplayer or something?
I think she keeps having the nightmare where you don't wake up in time for your tests in school, but it keeps being real. Where you're failing a test or something.
Okay. What do people fear? This is gonna have to do with like people talking about like, oh, this is my worst fear, and then they have to confront it. Like a demon overhears it, and then
they did that season 1.
Did they?
Or they did it with the clown, like the birthday clown that Xander was afraid of.
Yeah, you're right. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, no, we don't know. Sometimes we guess, but this one we don't have.
Yeah, this one's tough.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think it's going to be something with the school. I think it's going to be something with school.
Okay.
And her teacher and that chemistry class or psych class that she's in. Yeah, it's going to be something with the psych class.
With Riley Finn.
Yeah, if that's his name. And,
maybe they're going to learn something about psychology and about fear. And then they're going to apply it to like some kind of demon thing, or the demon's going to be in class with them and learn how to like make people fear shit.
Yeah, sure.
Boom.
This is the deepest we've ever gone on one of these predictions.
Well, that is it, everybody. Thank you for listening. If you want to get a shout out, write a review on Apple Podcasts.
I think that was clear. I think that was clear, Joe. I don't think
rate a review, subscribe, and all that stuff on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, blah blah blah.
And you can also on Spotify. Joe said you could send a screen grab of you liking it on Spotify, and he will give you a shout out.
Yep.
DM
post it in the Discord or DM at Boys Watching Buffy on Instagram.
No, DM at Joe Welke on Instagram. Those are specifically going straight to Joe Welke.
Okay, right to my desk. Okay.
To the office of.
Sign up for our Discord where we have a lot of discussions about the show and everything going on with it, and some updates whenever there are some updates. And that's about it, everybody. Thank you. Sign up for the Patreon. I've plugged that like 1,000 times. Thank you, and stay tuned next time for when we talk about Fear Itself.
Is Antonio Banderas a vampire?
No.
Oh. Can I make him a vampire?
No.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.